Sit. Find a way to sit on something with some height to your hips. Cross the shins. Put the foot underneath each shin. Press the hands on the thighs. Lift your heart up. Exhale, drop the shoulders. Take another nice deep breath in. Lift your chest again. Actively press the hands into the thighs and the thighs up into the hands. So both halves of the body are working with each other to find height to the spine. Then when you exhale, draw your back ribs in, side rib forward, front ribs up. Drop your shoulders, let your arms relax. All right. Let your eyes closed. When you come into this pose, when you come and start your yoga practice, whether it's for maintenance on the body, spiritual depth, because it's your routine, you're doing something for yourself. And so many of you share your time here with me and all the others to give yourself something. You're giving yourself something in this difficult time. So I think it's always good, though, to take a moment and acknowledge how that you're sharing some good part of yourself to the outside world, right? We can't, none of us probably has the cure for the coronavirus. But so what are we doing, or what have we done that is some small thing that is us helping make the world better for someone else or for a group of people more comfortable? You may not think it's a big thing, but it's still a thing to acknowledge that even though the world is a very different and weird place, how are we still shaping it with who we are? And if you can't connect to that, how you're shaping or doing with the world, then I would say you need to do more yoga so you have an awareness of the impact you have. Because it's usually not the big things that make the biggest differences. Like, you make a big grand gesture and it's acknowledged and then it's forgotten. But it's the small things that stick with people. I always like to tell the story of a small thing is that 17 years ago in yoga class in the restorative, the teacher put an eye pillow on my eyes and that just made me cry. That gesture of kindness made me feel like I could do this with my body, and here I am with all of you 17 years later. And you never know how far the stuff you're going to do is affecting people. You never know how the yoga practice is ultimately going to affect your body or what you're going to get from it. But can you, for a moment, getting here on the mat, putting everything out for the practice to do, the hard parts of the body, the challenging parts of ourselves emotionally, we'll also see good things in the body. Hamstrings move, backs get better. So what is some small thing that you've done emotionally to give to the world? Do you make face masks? Do you call someone who might be having a hard time? Can you give yourself that emotional nod, that pat on the back, that even though the world is a very weird place, very strange, that you're still living the best qualities of yourself in it and sharing them? It may not be all the time, may not be perfect, but you are still coming through. That regardless of the craziness of the world, the strangeness of it, you are still coming through. And if you can't think of one, let me share with you, all of you, that all of you here with me now is you showing up in a way that means the world to me. That you being who you are, just to come and do your work on this mat and listen to me ramble, is the kindness that you're putting out there. It's easy to get into the yoga practice and constantly worry about what we're not good at yet, what we have to do more of. That's only one side of it. It's good to acknowledge all that you already are and all that you already give, so that we never forget those base foundations of who we are. Loving, sense of justice, caring, romance, whatever it is. Those base foundations of who you are, no matter how weird the world gets to be there. No matter what you work on yourself, you're building upon those foundations. They will support you through this, through all the hard times and the good. So, my friends, as we go through practice tonight, if you do something, if you feel you're doing something well, don't even worry about my acknowledgement of it or anyone else in there. But if you feel like you're doing something well, take a moment and congratulate yourself for it. Let your practice not be one of critique, but of also celebration, so that it comes off the mat and continues to go out into the world to enrich it and to share your foundations of who you are with all those around you, whether on Zoom, at the dinner table, or at your neighbor that you wave to and smile at. Bring the palms together at the chest, let the thumbs touch the sternum, move the pinky away from ring finger, index away from middle. Blow them shortly 3 times, and we'll start. Take a short breath. Om. Flex your feet. Om. Back ribs in, side rib forward, front rib up. Om. Bow your head. Salute the essence of yoga inside yourself. And if you don't know what that might be, you don't have your own personal mantra, prayer, idea, thought, limerick, poem, song, whatever it may be, may I offer that the practice is not here to critique you about how bad you are, but to fully show you all that you are. So you can celebrate not just the change that you can create, but the foundation, bedrock of who you are. It's so beautiful to see. Bring your hands into the lap, let your head rise, and your eyes open. All right, so let's start standing. Let's do some standing poses, warm up. I'm going to try and not tirade on one yoga pose too long. Let's make this a nice, smooth practice. We'll do about 10, 15 minutes of seated pranayama at the end, because we've been working a lot of nice laying down pranayama with Ujjayi for the last few weeks. We'll try it standing. So when you start standing pose, let's just really dive into the old school of it and get into Tadasana. But I would like for you to have a block between your calf muscles. Narrow, not touching the knee joint. Yeah, from between the knee and the calf. So you're touching the thickest part of the calf lower. Turn your toes forward, all that good stuff. So like even here, you're just starting, already recognize how you might be starting to critique yourself or go, oh, or worry about it. Do you have a block? Well, congratulations, you came prepared. Celebrate that you were ready for class. You find the small things that show that you're coming through, no matter how dreary the rest of it is. So squeeze your calf muscles into the block, flex your quads, lengthen the knee. And so what I mean by lengthening the knee is not push the knee back behind you, but stretch down through the back side of the leg so that feel the bottom of the buttock lift slightly. So the back and front side of the leg is long. If you feel it be long, then you're okay. If you lock the knee back and you feel the inner, outer, front, back side of the knee crunch or compact a little bit, that's where you want to start, changing your own mental language about what you ask your body. Stretch both arms up, palms facing in, or Vastasana. So both arms up, palms facing in, lengthen through the side body, and then check in with your legs. Move your thighs back. and go for length. Again, lengthen the leg, lengthen the knee by stretching through the leg front and back, and then lengthen the arms in the same way. Think about how the joints bend, the inside of the joint that's facing towards your ear, lengthen it, and then the back side of the joint where the pointy part of the elbow, if you ever get poked with that hurts, your funny bone is, lengthen that out too. Lengthen both the inner and outer arm, and you'll feel kind of a stretch to the chest and rib cage a bit. And breathe. And then see what comes up for you. I can be very critical of myself in these poses. Usually it's like, oh, why does my body hurt? Why does it have to hurt? Blah, 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 you know. Why don't I practice more? You know, like 2 or 3 hours a day isn't enough and all said and done, right? But, you know, on the other side of it, good for me for getting into it when I hurt, right? Dedication's coming through. Love is coming through. So what for you gets you on the map? What's showing up and how else does it show up in the world? I'm sure it's there. You may not like to tell the story of you, but we're the only ones that can, because anyone else that tells the story of us is going to get it wrong, right? And release your fingers, turn your palms up. So Vadagulasana, the extension up, lengthen the front, back side of the leg, both sides of the joint. Now lengthen the elbows. There you go. Go for that length. Add some space. Because, you know, when we're stuck inside and we're feeling cramped, make some space and let some different thought flow in there. I'm going to get all hippie esoteric about it. Bring your arms down. Move the block up between your thighs. Way up towards the inner groin. Just don't break anything. Yeah, keep it narrow. We're not doing bicycle seat. I'm not trying to be cruel. Toes to point forward. Squeeze the block. So flex your quads. Lengthen the front and back side of the leg. Lengthen the back side of the leg first by pushing down through the feet so you feel the buttock lift. Then lengthen the front side of the leg so you feel the quads flex and lift. And try to keep that length. You might find that helps you keep your thighs flexed rather than feeling like you have to tighten them and press in harder on the block. When you lengthen something like that, it naturally comes towards the middle line. Arms up. Interlace your fingers, turn your palms up to the ceiling. Alternate the lacing of the fingers though. So if you just lace your fingers in the normal way where you just do like your right fingers on your left, switch it. So you got to change that lacing. I didn't tell you to do it on the other side, I'm telling you to do it now. And then lift, go for lift. Not just the spine, but lengthen the limbs, both sides of it, of the joint. Take a few breaths. Get into your work, your time. And whatever thought's coming up, and if it's a negative, can you flip it to a positive? Even if it's the baseline, God, I'm so stiff, why didn't I practice? Well, I'm practicing now. I'm showing up before it's too late. I'm showing up before I'm dead. Push up through the palms, lengthen either side. Take a couple breaths. Bring the arms down. Take your right arm, stretch the right arm out to your side, turning the palm behind you. Press the hand back so you stretch open that shoulder chest. Bend the right elbow, swinging your right hand around, trying to grab your left forearm, elbow, or bicep. You want to grab one of the 3 sections of that arm, whatever height you need to. And then rework the length of your legs. And then pull down with your right arm to stretch that left arm. Don't push your left shoulder down on its own strength. Let it be moved. If you want to do anything with your left arm, think about lengthening the front and back side of the left arm. And how where the right hand is grabbing is probably on the bicep or near the inner elbow. So when this pulls, when the right hand pulls down, you're already lengthening that inner part. So you work on lengthening the other side of the arm more. So it frees your shoulder from doing the work and the arm muscle itself gets to participate, and it opens that chest and neck. Because it's easy to get into the habit of pushing the shoulders down, which is a grip in the neck muscle, which pulls them up. So you're literally fighting yourself. By grabbing a hold of that arm and dragging it down and then thinking about the arm stretching on its strength, there can be a release to this neck, opening of the chest muscle. You're making space. So you'll know you're really on track for it if you take a deeper breath and you can breathe a little deeper into that left side of the body. Yeah, you're making space. You're finding space for yourself. Take a few more breaths. Take the arm out on your second exhale. Stretch your left arm out to the side. Turn your palm back. Stretch the arm back as far as you can before you twist your upper body. Don't let your ribs twist. Then bend the elbow. Bring the hand across to the right forearm, elbow, or bicep. And then when you start to pull down, don't push the shoulder. Relax the right shoulder. Let the left hand pulling down lengthen the front side of your right bicep. Oof, my brain at the moment. And then you work on lengthening the back side of your right arm. So both get the stretch. Oh, buddy, I thought you were going to go in the hallway. No. Yeah. No. Enzo never wants to get off camera. Go ahead and take the arms out. Very good. Take the block out from between your thighs. Step wide on your yoga mat. Actually, I take that back. Take one block, and you're going to put it flat on your yoga mat. Then you're going to step wide and turn your left toes out and put your whole left foot up on that block. We got to shift dogs around to get. Oh, it's whole left toe. Whole left foot. Your whole foot from the heel to the toes goes up on that block. And your feet are about 3.5 to 4 foot apart. Big enough for a corgi to get on. So when you step wide with your left foot up on that block, before we even bend the knee into warrior two, take a minute and try to lengthen both sides of the leg. Lengthen the back side of each leg and the front side of each leg. So they're both actively pushing down through the block, through the floor. And can you keep the back side of the legs long, especially on the left leg when you bend the knee? It's going to be a little challenging. So exhale, bend the left knee, but keep stretching the back side of that leg long. And you'll feel the thigh has to flex a little more. The hips have to open a little bit to do this. So this is really about can you keep that space you've created in the pose so that when you pick, and move joint and things like that, you're never putting unhealthy weight on. You never feel like you're compressing or closing something up. Don't worry about twisting or torquing up anything else. Like if you're grossly rotated, that's, move your right thigh back, lengthen the back side of your right leg more. You'll feel your right hip pull into place. Lengthen the left leg. Don't straighten it, but lengthen from the back side of your left leg towards the knee and down to the heel. So you feel your left thigh move the hip. And then flex both thighs and push down through the front of the foot and lengthen the front side of the leg. So as Mr. Angar would say, and this came from, I was reading one of his books, and he always used a line, and I never used to understand why he said this till recently. He used to say, stretch your knee. And I've always taught not to lock the knee, but he wasn't asking us to lock the knee either. What he kept trying to say was, how can we lengthen the front and back side of the knee? And when you learn to do it, you feel the muscles of your legs engage more and your hips open. All right, take a nice deep breath, straighten the left leg, step the foot off the block. No, we didn't do the arms, don't worry about it. Switch the block to the other side, so you have a block under your right foot. Turn the toes out, foot up on the block, of course. And before you even bend the knee, before you start worrying about anything else, work your legs the most. Push down through the foot so you can lengthen the back side of the leg. You'll feel your buttock lift a little bit, but that's what lets the pelvis set correctly. It doesn't rotate as hard. Because when the buttock and the hamstring and the buttocks are holding the pelvis, the psoas, the inner groin, lower back helps release. Lengthen the front side of the legs. So you're stretching the knees long, as he would say. And then bend the right knee, but still try to keep that engaged length. Yeah, so you're opening up from the hip move, from the thigh moving the hip. And this applies to all your standing poses. This will apply to like seated poses. And we'll get into those later. But like I said, tonight we're just going to do a nice, little standing practice. We'll do a few standing poses, forward bends, backward bend, probably twist, version, pranayama. Cut it. Now, even here with the knee bent, work your left leg. Instead of pushing your hip joint back or trying to tuck your tailbone or overflex your core, work your left leg more so you feel the left hamstring lift the buttock so the thigh moves back into place. Yeah. Then do the same on your right leg. Take a few breaths. Straighten the leg first, then step down. Nice. Put your block for your left foot, turn your left toes out, put your left foot on the block. Start with both legs long. Stretch both arms wide. When you stretch both arms wide, lengthen both legs, back side of the leg, top side of the leg, stretch the knee like the old man said. And now stretch your arms the same way. Can you lengthen the bend side of the elbow and the point side of the elbow, both long, so you feel those muscles from your armpit and your deltoid engage. And if the shoulders move wider too, great. Don't force it from there though. Make it work from the strength of the arm, opening up all that stuff. Then bend your left knee again. Keep the length, especially that right leg. Make the knee long. Take your left elbow onto your left knee. Your left fingers will point the same directions as your left toes are. Your left toes are pointing with your palm turned up to the ceiling. Right arm, still keep it long, stretch the back side of that elbow, swing the hand towards the screen if you're facing it, and then up overhead to the full side angle. And then check in with your right leg. Did you over lengthen one side versus the other? Probably the hamstring gave out. You stopped lengthening that side, so all of it dropped. Stretch through the back side of that leg, pushing through the heel, so you feel that right buttock lift, so the thigh can move into place. And then that left leg does the same action. This will allow your chest to open over time. This isn't about how tight your back is. Let's get some movement to the hips again. We're all sitting a lot. We're getting Zoom fatigue. I'm all about that being a condition now. And then when it starts getting hard, like it should be getting hard about now, take a breath. Check in with yourself. What's the critique? And then flip it, What's that positive thing that you're doing for yourself? Because if you do it for yourself, you're doing it for the world around you. And I promise you, someone in your life is getting the effect of it. It's how you're changing the world and you're putting your base self out there. Take a breath, bring the body up first, keep the knee bent, straighten the leg, foot down. Let's do the right foot on the block. All right, right foot up. Arms out. Lengthen the back side of each leg. Stretch the knee. Stretch the arms. So stretch from the bend side of the elbow out and the point side of the elbow out, so you feel that all this open. All right, bend the right knee. Bit of a Dustin 2. When you get there, pause, take a breath. Take your right elbow to the knee with your right palm turned up, your right fingers pointing the same direction as your toes. Left arm, stretch it. Stretch the elbow long, sweep the arm forward and then overhead. And then rework your legs. Check your left leg first. Can you stretch the back side of the left leg? So you push through the foot. So you feel that left buttock lift. And then do the same on the right. Can you stretch from the right buttock through the right knee hamstring? So you're trying to lengthen the back side of the leg, even though it's not straight, right? You don't have to have something straight to lengthen it. Our bodies are very complex objects in 3D space. And so it's easy in language to think that to lengthen something, you have to straighten it. That's not true. We can bend and be very complex with it. Take a couple breaths. Work your left arm. All right, up you come. Step, straighten the leg, step the foot off the block. Good. All right. Grab one of your blocks, bring your feet together. Place the block one of the blocks between your calves. So if you only have one block at home, it's more important to have the block between your calf than the other one. Then you're going to take a second block and place it right in front of you on tall. Even though you might be flexible enough to get your hands to the floor, trust me. Be patient with yourself on this one. All right. Squeeze the calf muscles into the block, facing the second block just in front of you. Lengthen the back side of the leg, lengthen the front side of the leg, stretch the knee. The old man would say, so not by locking the knee back, but by extending through the legs. Rotate your thighs in slightly. Hold forward, take both hands onto the block that's in front of you. If you can't reach the blocks in front of you, it's okay to use chairs or whatever height you need. So Uttanasana, standing forward stretch. Keep the front and back side of the leg long. Straight arms. Even though you could hang your head down, you could round your back, stretch your arms long and stretch the inside and outside of the arm. Stretch both sides of the arm and elbow. And now, stretch the front and back side of your spine. So your chest and heart extend out, your stomach lifts and extends out, and so does the back side. Look up and out. Challenge your neck. And then when you pick your head up, notice how your chest drops and your back compresses. So stretch the back, stretch your upper back as much as you're still stretching the front. Stretch the leg, stretch the arm. You can create a lot of extension through the limb in all this work. Mr. Angar would talk about it in a sense of energetic movement. You're shunting through. Like life comes up through the roots, through the trunk, to the limb. And this is not easy. It's really a challenge to feel and create that extension where you're actively working both the inside outside and not just bending and getting soft and hanging in the joint. That's why a lot of beginning yoga poses are very like elongated limb work to teach you how to even flex it. And then you can start like grabbing your toe and bending your elbows and all that crazy stuff. So now the block is tall, or your hands are on your chair, whatever you're using for your height. If you're using a block, take your hands onto the side of the block like you're going to grip it and hold it, but don't put the heel of your hand on it. I want you to palm the block on the side. So squeeze the palm with the block, or squeeze the block with the palms, and now lengthen the arms. Like you're squeezing the calf with the block with the calf, squeeze the block with the palm. Now stretch the inside, both sides of the arm, both sides of the leg, both sides of your chest. It's a lot of work. So the block gives you some level of balance, but you have to feel the core muscle it extends. If you're on a chair, you can take your hands down the chair leg just an inch or two and then squeeze the chair leg with the hand, or even just the sides of the seat of the chair, or even the top back of the bar if that's what you're using. So you're getting this extension, but it's also a engaging of your strength. And then if you feel really good, you can slide your hands down so like a little further down the block. But don't like just get your fingernails to the floor and then just kind of dump into it. You're still working very much the extension of the limbs, the legs, the upper body, the upper torso, I should say. Take a nice breath. Now, can you squeeze the block? This is where it becomes a challenge. So those of you that are on a chair, you might stay where you are and just enjoy the stretch. But, you know, if you're squeezing the side of the chair leg or the seat of the chair with your hands or the block with your hands, you might give this a go. Bend your elbows wide, but do not lose the action and engagement of the tricep, bicep, deltoid, all through that arm, or the squeezing of the block, and let your chest come down, stretch longer into the pose as you do that. So your palms push in, your elbows go wide, your chest comes down. Tristan's doing a pretty good job of modeling that right now. So are you still lengthening both sides of your leg? Are you stretching the knee? Can you lengthen and stretch the front and back side of your chest? So if this is the only forward fold you get, can you make it a really nice one? Take a few breaths. Squeeze the block, elbows wide. So the bend of the elbows helps elongate that shoulder down, pulling the rib cage deeper. Take a nice breath. Slowly up you come. All right, take the block out from between your calves. So in the Iyengar school, they talk about the sequence of poses, especially in the beginning, if you're really just kind of trying to figure something out and who isn't. The sequence usually goes standing poses to forward folds to backward bends to some kind of inversion. And so we're going to backward bend. So let's just do Setu Bandha. So I would like for us to do a Setu Bandha where you could have your feet, your legs straight and elevated on something. So I'm going to have Tristan grab a chair real quick and everyone can watch because some of you know what I'm talking about, but for those that don't. So you can use your couch, another chair, whatever you got. Move yourself wherever you need to in your room. So Tristan's going to have a chair there, and she's going to lay it on the floor with her legs straight, but her heels up on the chair. She needs to have a good measure of it. Right. Once she has the measure of it, her heels are on the chair, her body straight. I'm going to turn the light. She's going to bend her knees and put both feet flat on the floor. Lift her hips and put a block flat. We're only going to do a little bit of, we're going to do more leg stuff. Flat under her sacral plate. And then she stretches her legs back up onto the chair. She domes her heart. So get to this point. If you don't have a chair and you have a second block, you can put your feet up on the block. I just want the legs straight, but the feet at least the height, if not higher than your hips. This is more traditional Setu Bandha than the old school way we used to, we do it normally. I won't say old school versus traditional, but the way we do it with the knees bent, the feet on the floor. That's a different pose. That's wheeled pose. This is actually the leg straight is the bridge pose because the point of the legs to the shoulders is the bridge. Good. So even once you're here, sacral plate supported by the block, legs long, bring your thighs together. There's a lot of really interesting pelvic and exploratory stuff we can do here. And so we're going to touch on it a little bit because I find it very beneficial to relieve the psoas and the back muscles. Stretch your legs long. And when you did that, did you do so from pushing your pelvis into the block or gripping your low back or your abdomen? Lengthen the back side of the leg. So it feels like the hamstring is going long and your buttock might lift from it. And then lengthen the front side, or as Mr. Iyengar would say, stretch the knee, not by locking it down, but by lengthening both sides of it. And if you can do all four sides, the inner and outer also, by Jove, go for it. Because it's easy with your leg elevated like this just to let the knee joint hang and feel like you're really like working it. You're not. You have to lengthen the top and bottom side of the knee, top and bottom side of the whole leg. When you do that, when you lengthen it, you might find it easier to actually dome your heart a little bit because now your lower back is free to let your upper body extend and expand. Squeeze your thighs tight together and rotate your thighs internally. Don't bring the heels apart, but try to rotate the thigh inward like you were widening each buttock away from the other while on the block. This will start to take a lot of core strength just to do that. It's like you're hollowing out the front side of your pelvis. And breathe, just hold and breathe here. Extend, rotate, dome the heart. If you just did this form of it for a few minutes, you will start to shake. Because there's a lot of muscular stuff that doesn't get to work a whole lot. It's getting a stretch and then a rotation. Okay. So from here, keep your left leg on the chair. Keep it rotated, get the length of it. Take the right leg straight up in the air. So are you still lengthening both sides of the leg? So the hamstring and quad feel a lot of the work. You may not hold it for long. It may only be for a few moments. But if you feel you have to come out, it's okay. Relower the right leg down. Go for the extension again. Take a few breaths. Right leg down, left leg up. Rotate the thigh, both of them. Lengthen both sides of the leg. And whatever comes up for you in your pelvis or in your own mental state, check it. Because we want to connect to that stuff that makes us doubt or makes us feel like we're not good enough, because if that's what we connect to and we practice, that's what we put out into the world. And I think we can all agree we don't need any more doubt or uncertainty about ourselves or about the world around us right now. Let's build upon the foundations of who we really are underneath all of that. Connect to that part. You haven't quit yet. You're still online. You're still here. Take a breath. Lower your left leg back down. Stretch the legs long. Rotate the thighs in. Stretch both back and front side of the leg. Dome the heart. Take that deeper breath, because even when you extend here, you get it. And then for a moment, you might not have the space because you might be up against a wall or something. So you want to change, stretch both arms overhead. And if you're going to hit a wall or whatever, each hand can grab the opposite elbow and then pull, stretching the length of the flesh of the arm longer. Still doming the heart a bit, but lengthening the legs. You don't have to really, the shoulder blades can't perfectly squeeze together here, but you still kind of stretch them long so you get that openness of the chest. So you get the full extension of the backward bend. So here you might feel like you're working hard, your body's having to flex in some different ways. It's normal. Backward bend, strengthen the body. Hold for another minute. All right, take your arms out. Bend your knees, put your feet flat to the floor, lift your hips, take the block out, lower your spine down. So technically, because the head was lower than the heart, that's an inversion, but we're going to do one more. We'll do downward dog for our inversion to fully extend the spine. But I would like for you to use a chair or stool or something, because we're really not going for like intensity of muscular action. We're going for opening in the back spine. So stand on up. Tristan's going to use the chair that's right here in front of her. She's going to stand up. She's going to place both hands on the chair, step the feet back into the downward dog variation. Because now the head is lower than the heart, it's an inversion. So she pushes down through the palms, stretches the hips back. Everyone join her, and then I'll take you through the minutia of the pose. So your feet are just back past your hips, so you can really stretch through those heels. Chest extends down and forward towards the chair. Hips go back. All right, so once you're here in the pose, take a breath. Pick your heels up off the floor. Stretch the back and front side of your legs, not by locking the knee back. Remember, push through the foot, those front 5 parts. Lift your buttocks. Feel how your quads have to flex. Lengthen them so you feel your pelvis lift. And then let your heels go down, but keep all that length you created in the leg. Nice and long. Hips moving back. And then do the same thing in your hands. Go to your fingertips for a moment. So get the heel of the hand off of the chair and go to your fingertips so you feel you can lengthen both sides of the arm. There you go, Tris. Now lengthen the arm, lengthen the legs, pick your toes up and your fingertips. Get daring. Pick your heels up. Push your toes down. Stretch both sides of the leg, stretch both sides of the arm. And then on an exhale, can you keep that length and bring your hands and heels down, but not feel your back overcompensate? Can you keep that extension of it? Take a few breaths into it and then check in. Can you lengthen the limbs? And can, when you do so, taking that deeper breath in, get a little bit more relief, space in your body. All right, take another breath or two. All right, exhale, up you go. Nice, step out. Move your chairs off your mats. Grab. So here's going to be another request. You're going to need something to sit on, bolsters, blankets, couch cushions, whatever. And then if you have a, what we call in yoga classes, the stick of truth, right? You've seen me bring them right you around with class with them, right? It's about what, 4 foot long or so, 3 foot long, poles like this. If you don't have one of these, which most of you probably don't, get your broom. Whatever you got that is long metal like wood like this. And if you don't have anything offhand, like you can get in the next minute, don't worry, have it for next class. But if you have one, grab it, because I'm going to show you a way you can use it to help your upright seated work. So I'll give you the next 60 seconds to go get your broom or your yoga stick. I like the lightest knock. I know, he's a very grumpy puppy. He's been moved a lot. All right, 10 seconds. We got your, if you don't have it, it's okay. But if you've got a stick, you take it behind your back, across your bottom ribs, and then you hook the elbows across the bar. So then you can push your arms into the stick and your ribs against the stick and pick your rib cage up really high. Then you can pull down, the bar can roll down your back, dragging your shoulders away from your neck a little bit. Very nice for those of us that sit a lot, that our necks are getting a little tight. Really kind of ratchet that upper body into place. Good. If you don't have one, for those of us that are stickless right now, you still got to flex the feet, do all the good stuff. Press the hands down into the thighs and lift the rib cage up like we do at the start of class. And then before you exhale, pull the shoulders down and pin the elbows in towards each other a little bit behind you, so you broaden and open up across the front of the chest. One of the reasons to do that is to get as much lift here as possible in the upper pectoralis muscles, collarbone, sternum area, so you can bring your chin down. Your neck will hurt if you overly round your neck into your back. Do not round the upper back into this. Keep that lifted chest by pushing the bar into your back or pulling your elbows in tight. And then draw your chin down so there might be a slight stretch to the neck, but your shoulders never come up or in because of it. They stay down. Let your eyes close. Spend the next few minutes breathing here in Ujjayi, working on what we have the last few weeks. Chin down, Katie. All right, so take a few breaths. Just kind of get the rhythm of your body. Keep your eyes closed. So when you get into upright seated breathing, it is very challenging because there's a lot of muscle stimulation, there's a lot of nerve stimulation, and that can really play havoc on our breathing. When we start to try and learn to swim, we don't do it in raging rivers. We do it in the calm lakes. That's why we teach a lot of pranayama laying down. Passive nerve system, passive muscular system, upright muscular system, active nerve system. You're getting tossed in the swirling rivers now, the raging rivers. But you can all swim. So if you ever feel anything get like super irritating for you or nerve twitching, just lay down and continue the work from a laying position with like a prop under your head, like a blocker, a bolster, or a pillow. So remember, Ujjayi breathing is the specific type of breathing where you're inhaling from the inner parts of the nostril up to the inner corners of the eyes, creating that S sound, like it sounds like waves rolling in. And the exhale is pushed towards from underneath the center of the eye to the outer nose out. So focus on where you're drawing your breath to, from the inner nose up to the inner corner of the eye, and from underneath the eye down the outer tube of the nose. So it's a roaring S and a very powerful H. Now, do that for just the next 30 seconds. Get connected to that breath. Experiment with it. Try different intensities or frequencies of your breath, because you'll find the right one. It'll sound very full and loud inside your head. Too intense, it sounds narrow, like you're piercing the top of your skull with your breath. Too soft, almost feels like you're choking. But you'll find that right power for the inhale from the inner nostril, the inner corner of the eye, because it sounds like from ear to ear, top to bottom of the head, you're full of sound. One of the ways that I've found that is really fulfilling inhale is if I'm trying to fill all the parts of my skull with sound. I love it when I'm at the ocean. I'm going to miss the sea dearly this year, not being in Italy. So, I let my breath take me there. And then when you exhale, like the tide going away, can you let it drain out everything from you, from all that sound that's in your skull out? Like you were cleansing your hearing or cleansing your nervous system. It's part of what pranayama does. Another 10 seconds with the inhale, filling you full of sound. Exhale, draining it out. The tide comes in, tide goes out. Now, keep in your breath and just listen. Feel free to take a moment to adjust your shoulders down at what is now a break point. To let your chin reset, to shift your neck a little bit, to re-engage the Jalandhara bar, which is your chin down. To soften the eyes and to let go of all the tension that got created with that. Sure, it's there, but we're not exploring that. The practice is about connecting to and recognizing those positive things there. and how they show up in us and then ultimately in the world. That dedication, that focus, that being nice to yourself, right? You're not mean to anyone else for not being perfect, I hope. So why would you be mean to yourself about it? And then feel the bottom floating ribs on the front. Between them is the diaphragm. So on your next breath, breathe from the bottom of your diaphragm up, letting your breath widen like a V up to the collarbones towards the shoulders, and then exhale the same way, still in Ujjayi. From that base, very diaphragmatic line out, wide, and then exhale. If you feel like you can't inhale evenly one side or the other, since we've spent a lot of time in class with it, can you stretch the limb of the arm away from the shoulder on the front and back side? Can you stretch the limb of the leg towards the knee on the front and back side? That will set your pelvis, the arm will set your chest. It's funny how the asana practice kind of can show up even here. Nothing that you do is in a bubble. So still in Ujjayi, breathing from the base of the diaphragm, between the lower ribs, up all the way to the top crown of the lung in a V shape. Imagine it. Still letting the sound, the inhale, fill your lungs as it fills your head with sound. So all of you becomes alive. All of you lights up, and the exhale draining it. So all of you is left there, clean, whole, and at peace. So that no matter the tumultuous nature of the sound in you, the exhale is there to let you be still. Like a rock on the shoreline, the storm rages against it all the time, but it's still there. It's still stable, reliable, beautiful to look at. You take lots of pictures of coastline, right? Now, deepen your inhale a little bit, even if you're like starting to get full, and then go that extra little bit, and then deepen your exhale. So just as you're about to finish exhaling, just let the last little bit go. What are you holding on to about yourself? Are you holding on to passivity, or are you holding on to tumultuous action? I know people, and I'm one of those people too. I like to hold on to the passivity. Like the quiet times are my favorite, so God will do anything to maintain them. I know some people are always looking for the next high, always looking for the next fight. Which one's harder for you? Is it hard for you to let go of that exhale because you're just trying to hold on to it? Or are you like me, who doesn't take a full inhale because that's just so much. It breaks the calm that I'd already established. So connect to that part of yourself. And it may be a different explanation in your mind for you. I'm not saying that metaphor might be right, but it's an example of what's going on for me. I'm trying to share it with you because I'm putting myself out there. On your next exhale, take one more deep breath in, and then during that inhale, check in with your body. Check in with your shoulders, your neck, your eyes, your ears. Check in with yourself. Adjust so the next minute is really more comfortable, even if that means dropping the bar and just letting your elbows pull in. Give yourself the total thing that you need for 1 minute. Can you practice living in and just inundating yourself with all the positive things that you're doing here for you? Not because there's a negative about you, but just because this is who you are and this is what you deserve and you get. You never end pranayama on its exhale. On your next inhale, let the bar come down or let your shoulders shift, let your head lift and your eyes open on the inhale. And then exhale with your eyes open. Lay down on your back with your head supported. Stretch your legs out. If your back is tired, tight, fatigued, or low back especially, it's okay to put your legs up on a chair or a couch or something, but just lay down, closing the eyes. No pranayama. Done that work. You learn to swim in the raging rivers of your own nerve system and body. And now you just get to kind of float. As you are in the world after giving yourself something. And so, my friends, for the next moment or two, connect to what you gave yourself. Connect to the quality, the determination, the compassion, the hard work. And for everything that you recognize, and be brutally your own fan, and really connect to all that stuff you just gave yourself, even if it's one thing or 5 things. But whatever you connect to, like, and give it a name. So, like, if you say, I was compassionate to myself to get here on the mat, how are you also compassionate in the world over the last few weeks? But it's something you did that you may never have gotten acknowledged for, but you just did nice for somebody. Or you had the Starbucks drive-through and paid for the person behind you, whatever it is. Celebrate you. We all know some of the stuff that it's our flaws. Even if we don't have names for it, we can touch them. But in the uncertainty of the world, and whatever is built after this, right? Because we're in a time of change and flux, just as when Shiva danced and destroyed the world and changed it, right? Nothing is ever truly gone. It's just new energy. We're in a time of flux. So what comes after this? I want to be the best of us. That bedrock of who we are. Compassion, our determination, our strength, our peace. Not so we hide the bad things, but so that we build something that is based on those things. So that we can all confront the things that we might not like, might not want to have in the world together. Sacrificing none. Take a nice deep breath in. Let it invigorate you for the tips of the fingers, the tips of the toes. Let each inhale energize you for the days, the weeks ahead. Each breath out, leave you cool and relaxed. Firmly on the ground of who you are and what you'll put in the world. Bend your left knee, press your left foot into the floor, rolling to your right side, and slowly up you come. All right. So nice to see everybody. If you want to unmute yourself and ask a question of me or Tristan or the corgis, we'll do the best we can to answer for a few minutes and we'll go off to dinner. And sorry, it's not going to be a 2-hour class. My body's not feeling super great. So we do the best we can, right? We put our best out into the world, and it's somehow good enough. Anyone got a question?
No, it was a beautiful practice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just
Yeah,
hope you
the
feel better.
class was very good. Thank you so much. The class was really good. Thank you.
Good. I'm glad it was good. No one? Great. Well, yeah, the puppy's very popular. All right, everybody. I'll see you all Thursday.
Thank
If you
you,
have any
Dustin.
questions, don't be afraid to reach out,
Thank you,
emails
Dustin.
or whatever.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye, everybody.
See ya.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Little corgi namaste too.